Good morning, Molly. This is Mrs. Ross. Today we are going to be looking at grammar. We're going to be talking about the subjects in a sentence. Now, in the past, we have talked about prepositional phrases. And remember, a prepositional phrase is a prep plus a noun, such as in the house. And we bracketed that, and we got rid of it. Then we also talked about verbs. And when we talked about verbs, we talked about action verbs, and we talked about linking verbs. And we said every sentence will have either an action verb or a linking verb. Well, now we're going to be talking about subjects. Subjects are always going to be a noun or a pronoun. Now, a noun is a person, place, thing, or idea, and a pronoun is a word that replaces the name of a person, place. So like he, she, it, they, things like that, okay? Now, here's the first rule. Okay, this is our first rule. The subject comes before the verb in most sentences. So, the boy threw the ball. Well, there's not a prepositional phrase, so I want to find the verb, threw. Underline it, label it an A. Then, I have Janet and Tom drove the car. So I'm going to underline drove and label it an A. Now, I do have a preposition here, to the school. So let's mark it out just like that. And now I have the word he went. Well, went is my action verb. Underline it twice and label it A. Then we have we are in a crisis. In a crisis is a prepositional phrase. So we're going to mark it out just like that. And then we have the words we are. Are is a linking verb, so we're going to underline it twice and label it an L. Then we have this phrase here, jump into my arms. Now this is special, okay? And we want to make note of that, how special this one is. This one is called, and trying to find another pen color. This one is called an imperative sentence. So, this is called imperative. You'll probably find it easier to call it by its common name. This is a command. This is when you tell someone to do something, okay? So it's kind of special. That's why it looks so different than these others. But we're still going to do the same thing. We're going to find that prepositional phrase, into my arms. We're going to mark it out. We're going to find the verb, jump, and label it an A. So, still do all those steps. Now when it comes to finding the subject, here's what you do. Who threw the ball? The boy did. Who drove the car? Well, Janet drove the car and Tom drove the car. And you notice I'm underlining those words once and labeling them with an S. Who went to school? Well, he went to school. Once, label it S. Who is in a crisis? We are in a crisis. Underline it once, label it S. Now, this one, it technically would look like this. Jump into my arms. Who am I talking to? Well, I'm talking to you. So this is what we do. We have to write the word you in front of it, put it in parentheses, underline it once, and label it S. Just like that. All right. Now, as always, in English, Molly, there is exceptions. And I'm sorry, but there are exceptions here. But there's only 3 of them. 3. 1, 2, and 3. I've got gray nails today. Hello. All right. So here's the deal. Exception number 1. The subject will come after the verb. Because remember, up here I said it's going to come before the verb. Well, now I have an exception. First of all, what if you have a question? Remember, I'm looking at this question mark. Well, that throws a kink in the works, okay? But still, this is what I'm going to do. I do not have a prepositional phrase in that sentence. But I do have a verb. I have the verb drive, which is action, and I have the verb will, which is helping. And I still ask myself, well, who is driving that car? Well, Janet is driving that car. Now, when you see this, you'll notice there's a verb in front of Janet. That's why it's an exception. Because if it was normal, it would just be Janet will drive the car. But because it's a question, it's got a funky structure. So you got to watch out for that. So when you see that question mark, put it in your brain. Oh, this is weird. It's not going to be normal. Now, your second problem, child, with this is going to be about the sentences that begin with here and there. These are adverbs. Okay? So that's why they're a monkey wrench. So here's what I do. Anytime I see a sentence start with here or there, I just put an X over it, just like that. Because it is no good to me. I don't need it. So when a sentence begins with here and a sentence begins with there, you should put an X over it for right now, because we don't need to look at it. Now, I look for a prepositional phrase. There isn't any. So now I look for a verb. Is my linking verb. Now, this is where you have to ask him. You're going to look at this and you're going to be like, but there's nothing there for me to have a subject. There's no subject there. That's because it's weird. It's an exception. Your subject comes after the verb. So you have to ask yourself, who is here? Why, it's my friend. And so you underline friend and label this. Where? What is there? What is there? It's my car. So that's why this is an exception. Your exceptions are questions, and your exception is whenever a sentence begins with here and there. Now, your third exception is the one that's going to kind of maybe throw you a little bit. This is why it's going to be so important for you to be able to find action verbs and linking verbs and prepositional phrases. So I have the phrase, under the bridge lay a cow. I don't know why the cow is there. Maybe it's tired. Maybe it's actually a troll. I don't know. So the first thing we do is find that prepositional phrase. Under the bridge. Because remember, prepositional phrases can never be the subject. Then I say, okay, well, what's my verb? Well, my verb is lay. Okay? So then I'm going to ask myself, well, what's laying under the bridge? It's a cow. So I'll label it subject. And if you notice again, look, the subject comes after that action verb. This is an exception. Look at this one. Around the tree jumped an angry squirrel. Somebody stole its nuts, I guess. I get rid of that prepositional phrase, around the tree. I then look for my action verb, jumped. And then I'm going to ask myself, well, what's jumping around that tree? It is my squirrel. And I label that an S. So this is how most of your sentences are going to look. Subject, action verb. Subject, linking verb. But it's always going to be subject, verb. The pattern's going to be subject, verb. Now it could be subject, helping verb, action verb. Or it could be subject, linking verb. or subject, helping verb, linking verb, but it's always going to be this way. These are the ones that are weird, okay? They are different. So be on the lookout. Now, the homework or assignment you're going to be doing looks something like this. It's a group practice. I'm going to make this just a little bit. And it basically is the same thing. Do you remember the first thing I told you to do when you saw the word here? What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to put an X over it, just like this. So let's just go down this list. Do any of All right, so you got rid of here for number 1. Now I found one. There is on number 7. And I go down a little bit more. Okay, that's all my here's and there's. So I know that number 1 and number 7 are going to be exceptions. Okay? Now, let's go through at the end. Do any of these end in a question mark? Number 5. Exception. Do any more end in a question mark? Nope. So I know for fact 1, 5, and 7 are going to use this strategy. Now, I still might have one that's going to be beginning with a prepositional phrase, but I won't know that until I get further into this. Okay? So, let's look at this. Starting off, number 1. Here is the blue ribbon cake in the contest. Well, the first thing we want to do is get rid of the prepositional phrase. In the contest. Then we want to find the verb. There is no action. Is the blue ribbon cake? Nope. That means I have a linking verb. Now, I ask myself, I can only pick one word. What is here? Is it a blue? Is it a ribbon? Or is it a cake that I have here in the contest? Well, I have a cake in the contest. So I underline cake and label it S. Now let's look at this one. Patience and kindness go a long way with children. Let's get rid of the prepositional phrase with children. Now, do I have anything I can do? Well, I can be patient, but I can't say, my mom patience. Nope. I can, okay, and I can't say, my mom kindness. That doesn't work anything. So these are not verbs. But I can go. That's an action. So I can label that as an A. And because this is normal, I know my subject has to be here. Remember, I didn't circle it, so I know this is a normal sentence. So what goes a long way? Well, kindness goes a long way, and patience goes a long way. Okay, now let's look at this next one, number 3. Open the window. There is no prepositional phrase, so I just leave this down. But now I'm going to look for an action verb. What can I do in this sentence? Well, I can open. So I label that an A, underlining it twice. Now, you're going to look at this and you're going to want to say open. Window is your subject. But I'm going to tell you, look at this. Remember? Does open, is that a question? No. Does open start with here or there? No. Does open start with a prepositional phrase? No. Therefore, it's up here. Open is an imperative sentence. It's a command. So that means you have to put you. Because when I say open the window, I am telling you to do something. So here's how you do it. You take your pen and you put parenthesis, Y-O-U, close your parentheses, underline it once, and label it S. That's how you do a command. Now, we're going to look at question number 4. This one's tricky. Okay, so let's look at it. See if it's going to try and trick us. Under her guidance, he became a concert pianist. Okay, so under her guidance is a prepositional phrase. And he became a concert pianist. Well, here's my problem, first of all. Became is a weird verb. Remember your weird verb list that you have? What's on there? So here's what I have to do. He is a concert pianist. Does that make sense? Yes. So this is a linking verb because I can replace it. Now, I know what you're thinking. Miss Ross, it starts with a prepositional phrase. That means pianist is the subject. Nope. Back up. Look. Do you see how it goes bridge and right into the word lay and tree and right into the word jumped? But look here. Does it go guidance right into became? That's why it's tricking you, because they put the word he right there. So now these two do not look the same. That's because he is your subject. So don't be tricked. Remember, if it's going to be a weird or an exception, that's preposition is going to be right next to the verb. There's not going to be anything between them. They're going to be smack dab together. So be careful. Okay, let's look at this one, number 5. It's one of our exceptions, and it's the last one I'm going to do with you. Are you joking with me? Let's get rid of our prepositional phrase. With me. Okay, what can I do? Well, I can joke. And I have the word are, which is a helping verb. And then I ask myself, well, who is joking? You are joking with me. And if you notice, look here. Helping verb, subject, action verb. You kind of have those the same. All right, see what you can do on these. Okay? And this is a practice, but do the best you can. Go slow and do the steps. Number 1, remove the preps. Get rid of those prep phrases. 2, find either action or a linking verb. Never both. Only one. 3rd, look left for any helping verbs. And then 4th, find the subject. Okay? And use your rules. All right, if you guys have any problems or questions, let me know. Have a good day, Molly. Bye.